Hi, this is Susan from Pan American Gem, and I would like to demonstrate to you the crimping technique and also how to apply the crimp covers. Now, the materials that you'll need for this project are a spool of string. This is a 24 karat gold plated stainless steel string that is plastic coated to prevent any tarnishing, and it's very soft, supple. You don't need a needle. It's rigid enough that you can string right onto it. You'll need a couple of pliers. You'll need cutting pliers. I like to use a flat chain nose plier. I'll show you why. And you'll need crimping pliers. And let me go ahead and bring these up close so you can take a look. And what's unique about them is that they have two little areas here. One that is closest to the joint here and is curved sort of like in a U-shaped, and the one at the end is shaped more like a small oval. So I'll demonstrate the use of these. And you'll need a strand. For my project today, I'm using a multicolor aquamarine strand. I'm going to use a pendant for interest, and because I actually need to attach this in 4 parts, so I have more opportunities to demonstrate the crimping itself. You will need a clasp. I'm using a small 5.5 millimeter gold-filled spring ring. I'm also using a 4.5 millimeter soldered jump ring. The crimp tubes, these are 2 millimeter crimp tubes, and the corresponding, also in gold filled, corresponding crimp covers are in gold filled as well, and they look kind of like little C's or little Pac-Mans, and they are 3 millimeter. They need to be a little larger than the crimp itself. So first thing we want to do is start stringing. For this necklace, I find that the color combination works best towards the center of the strand, so I'm going to cut right down the middle of the strand and start stringing onto the wire. Now, it's always best to string directly onto the spool because you reduce waste. When you close it, you can put all your beads in and then close this end first, and then kind of wiggle all your beads back tight, and then you know you need to snip a smaller piece. So this type of beads are about, let's see, about 4 millimeters. So what I like to do is that I like to grab several of them at a time, maybe 4 or 5 beads, so that I don't have to pick each one up individually. And then kind of find the center of them. This one here. Okay, so you get the idea of stringing onto this type of jewelry wire. And what I'm going to do is, I've already strung a similar strand so I can get right to the crimping. So here we are. I normally would, like I said, string onto the spool, but for this demonstration I have clipped it, and I'm going to put a little piece of tape at the end so that I don't have any accidents. So first thing I'm going to do is attach the pendant, and the side that I want to attach it to is this one. So I first need to put the crimp bead in, then I'm going to make a loop once I thread it through the, in this case, a pendant, but it could be a clasp, it could be a chain link. Okay, so here's how to make that little loop. you're simply going to go in through the crimp itself a second time. And then I'm going to give it a little pull. What's nice to work with the colored, the gold-plated or the silver-plated jewelry wire, here, we need a little wiggle room, is that if the string shows through the beads, it's an attractive color rather than the plain stainless steel. And if it shows around whatever you're attaching it, similarly, it's a nice effect. So I like to squeeze them first with the chain nose pliers. I find that that they are better secure. Having said that, you have to be careful not to actually slip and bruise the string itself. So what I do is that I hold pretty much the two strands underneath side by side. And then I go in and I squeeze right down the middle of that crimp in this fashion. And so he could be secured like that as well. But I think it makes it so much classier and so much better finished if you go ahead and take the time to crimp it with the crimper and put a crimp cover over it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip this and line it up flat with the part of the crimping plier that was shaped like the U, the one that was closer to me, to the joint of the pliers. So line them up fairly straight and then give it a little squeeze, and that is going to kind of shape the bead into a U shape. So it gives it a little bend. I don't know if you can appreciate it there, but it gives it a little bend. Now I'm going to go ahead and hold it vertically, not flat, but vertical on the side that is supposed to, that is shaped like an oval towards the end. And what this is going to do when I squeeze it is that it's going to fold that bead in half and make it more tubular. So here we go. And it shapes it into a little tube. Give it a couple little squeezes and see, it folded it basically in half. So it's got a smaller profile now. Now what I'm going to do is attach the crimp cover, and people do this in all kinds of different ways. But what I found easier is that if I hold the crimp cover in this fashion and I grab it with the pliers themselves facing open, that I don't have such a hard time with it slipping out of my hands. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to come in and go right onto the crimp bead and attach the crimp cover. And then oftentimes I gotta return and kind of give it a gentle, very gentle kind of pressure to close the crimp bead. You can turn it. And you have a little seam, but it does look more tailored. Then at the end I'll go in and clip that little piece of string off. So go in and clip that off as close as I can so that it doesn't scratch the skin. So here we are, one side attached. Now I'm going to attach the clasp side. So I scoot all my beads onto the end, grab this little end, and once again I'm going to put the crimp through the clasp. So the crimp always goes first, and then I'm going to once more make that loop I spoke about earlier. So here we are. And the second side, it's always a little trickier because you got to make sure that you don't have any gaps. So this is how I like to do it. We need a little wiggle room like I mentioned earlier. So I'm going to leave it there. It seems firm enough, no gaps. I'm going to hold it carefully and go on and close it with the flat pliers. Then I'm going to go in again with the U-shaped side and give it a little squeeze, and that's going to bend it into a U. Then turn it on its side, and with the front end of the plier, I'm going to go ahead and, oops, there we go. Let's bend it in half into a little tube, and you can go around and squeeze. At this point, I'm going to clip this end. It'll just make it easier not to have to do it once I put the crimp cover on it. And here we are. Now once again, I grab the crimp cover with the plier facing, the opening facing out, and I'm going to go and wrap it kind of around the crimp itself. And squeeze. If it still looks a little bit open, you turn it and squeeze. Very gently, because these can kind of crush easily. And there you have it. That is one side that is crimped. Now I'm not sure if the video is going to let me give you another one, but we'll try. If I get cut off, please excuse me. So here goes the first side. Attach. The set is best if you keep it flat. A little wiggle room left there. And flatten it. I'm going to come back with the crimping pliers and bend it into the U shape. Put it on its side and finish folding it in half into a tube and clip off the end here. Attach the crimp cover. Let's see, this one guy didn't quite line up, but I can straighten him out with my flat chain nose pliers. Now you can find all of these supplies at our website, panamericangem.com, and you can share us on Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram, whatever you like. And if you like the finished product, I also do sell them on Etsy at Pan American Gem. So we're down to the very end. I've put in my last crimp and the jump ring. Now what's nice about this technique is that it's very simple. You know, it does take a little bit of practice to make sure you don't have any gaps, but it's economical, it's not as time consuming. And quite honestly, I enjoy it very much. It's fun. You get pretty quick gratification of a strand being finished. Okay, so I like to flatten it first. Make sure it's secure. Careful not to bruise the string. Go in with the crimping pliers. And let's see here. Am I in there? Yeah. Make the little U shape. Turn it on its side. Fold it in half. And then we got a little tube. Let's cut the end off. And we'll be done. Attach the last crimp cover. Here we are. Once again, come in. Oops, it turned a little bit on its side. I'll make sure it's straight. And squeeze. And check it, make sure that it's closed. If it needs adjustments, just come back with the other plier and straighten it out. And give it one final little squeeze. And here we have it. Here's the strand attached, and here's the clasp area, and you can see how nice and finished it makes it look. It looks like you have a little bead at the end. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and like I said, please share it. Please visit our website, panamericangem.com.